You're welcome back right here to the Afia TV news conversation segment where we want to speak about Governor Peter Mbah's building the Enugu of our dreams, and he's made notable strides in transforming the Enugu State's transportation sector, focusing on modern infrastructure and eco-friendly solutions and, of course, enhanced connectivity. His administration has prioritized projects like bus terminals, CNG buses, and the ambitious Enugu Air initiative to improve mobility, affordability, and economic growth in the state. Now, to make transportation more affordable and environmentally sustainable, Mbah's administration has introduced the CNG-powered buses, and the first batch of 200 buses have been rolled out with plans to expand the fleet. These buses aim to ease movement within Enugu, reduce reliance on fossil fuels, and lower transport costs for residents. But to discuss further on Mbah's vision is Venerable Francis Mountainfly, and he's the Plenary News UK Bureau Chief and, of course, a political strategist. Good evening, Venerable, and welcome to Afia TV again.
The most amazing. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
To be with you guys again, yeah.
Very well, thank you. So let's talk about Enugu. First off, we're hosting the NBA conference with part of the theme being Stand Out and Stand Tall under the administration of Mbah. And of course, that is really, of course, like a big deal for Enugu State at the moment. What are your thoughts about it?
Wow, thank you for starting up with a NBA conference that's just kicked off in Enugu recently. That'll be, there's something remarkable happening in Enugu. And for the first time in history, Enugu will host the NBA annual conference. I mean, who would have thought and who would have seen this coming? Mm-hmm. Hosting this event is just a game changer for the people of Enugu and Nigeria as a whole. And this event is another way of Mbah administration to say, hey, we're not just talking, but we're working, attracting this huge, event to Enugu. Shows there's something about Enugu that's taking a new shape. Enugu is moving to the right direction, and also in terms of comparison, maybe this would have gone down to Lagos or Abuja, and previously it was in Parakat, and now it's in Enugu. And it's a win-win for the people of Enugu, believe me, and attracting thousands of these legal professionals. Not just only the legal professionals that is in Enugu during this event, the investors will be there as well. And the global stakeholders will also be there. Why? Just to see the beauty of Enugu. And this will help to boost the business tourism in Enugu and also have the local entrepreneurs, have the local people to tap into the resources. I mean, having this huge conference in Enugu, we know that Enugu will be busy in the next 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. And then, yep.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Let's speak about the infrastructural developments in Enugu. How is this perceived by the diasporan community, especially for those who have had some history, like the Ofotu community elsewhere around the world? How do you think this is perceived?
Wow, the progress is remarkable. I mean, I speak to a lot of people in diaspora, being a bureau chief for the Plenary News. So I have direct contact to my people, mostly the people of Enugu. So I speak to them, and one of the biggest talk in the diaspora is about the Hotel Presidential. We know the history. We know what this landmark has become. Mm-hmm. I was in Enugu about 3 years ago. The whole place was dilapidated. And I was like, is this the same iconic, presidential hotel that we all grew up? Enugu is one of those, destinations where you're coming, you felt you just want to visit this landmark called Presidential Hotel. However, in the last few months, something tremendous has happened to this landmark, and people are beginning to see there's a new hope, there's a new light, that this government, it's not just coming to, align their own pockets, but to show the people of Enugu that we are working. These are landmarks that's been abandoned by the previous predecessor and the previous one, and nobody cares. And now This landmark will host the MBAs, you know, and in fact, I don't even know how to put this in context. When I watched the whole thing, and I was like, wow, and I can't wait to come back and, actually uh, ask my people to book me a room. I just want to get the feel that this once abandoned projects, and now it has come back to life. So miracles do happen, and Enugu has become a playbook where miracles do happen. If you ask me. And now Enugu has become the premium destination for international events and tourism. Who would have thought in 2025? Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to be asking you two different questions, and I need your opinion about this. One is about the development that we speak about, how people feel about it, not just the people in the diaspora. I've had to talk to people on the streets, and they're not so happy, especially with the heavy taxation on the businesses, that are here. And I know that a lot of you, when you want to speak about these things, you say, well, if the government has to do a lot of work, then people have to be taxed heavily as well. But the people are really not happy because the tax is, a bit way too much for them to carry. What suggestion do you think that you can give to the government to balance this out in some of the ways that they can raise revenue for this? Also, there are pockets of insecurity around in town in Enugu. And this is not just a propaganda. This is for real. Because just last week, a popular Nollywood producer was kidnapped in the New Haven Axis and was killed sadly. And that news was everywhere. So what can we do about security in terms of how people are just picked up? And, there was a command center that was inaugurated some months ago in the government house, and a lot of people felt very comfortable because the police cars went out parading the streets with, cameras on top of it. But here again, Enugu is being, exposed to this sort of elements, and then it just seems like nothing is being done about it. What would be your take on the insecurity and the measures that the government should take as regards balancing out the taxes as well?
Yeah, thank you, Amazing, for touching on security. You see, I'm quite very sympathetic, and it's quite sad to the family of the departed, and that really touches me because my social media handle was flooded, my inbox was flooded. People was calling me, and there's been a lot of criticism about this and what just happened, and this young man's life was cut short. Nevertheless, the security issues in the South and the Southeast and Nigeria as a whole, it's a huge concern. It's just not for one state. But for Enugu, we need to understand something. These guys are perpetrators of evil, and they will just look for one thing to strike just to dampen the spirit of Enugu. I mean, you can imagine at the blink of everything that's happening to Enugu and the MBA coming to Enugu and this kind of act was carried out, what message do they want to send to the general public? But for the governor and his team, to believe me, I believe they are doing their best, they're working hard, and they're making sure that the life and property in Enugu is secured. I myself have only just returned back from Enugu, and I can tell you for the very first time, I felt at home. I saw all the security operative, the guys with the car, with the camera, even at night when I drive out to go, look around Enugu and see how the beautiful landscape is lighting up. I run into them, and I felt like, oh, this is what we needed. But the killings, it's something that we have to take serious, not just the government. Every citizen of Enugu have to speak up. These guys live in our community. They are part of us. They are not ghosts. They go to bar, they live in a house, they lodge in the hotels, they spend their money, they cash out in banks. So somebody somewhere must know something, and you need to speak up. You don't just say, oh, it's for the government. The government cannot do anything. It cannot do everything for us. We, the citizens, have to say enough is enough. When we see things that does not align, when we see somebody with a dubious character, his life does not align, we cannot account how they make their money, we should be reporting these things. And charity begins at home. Let me tell you the truth. If the people of Enugu cannot stand up for themselves and hoping, oh, the government will do everything. We will keep experiencing such. Enugu, what a beautiful state. And now I'm killing a film producer. What do you expect? Every other producer may be absconding from Enugu, or sending fear into the movie industry. That's not what we need at this point in time in Enugu. And I know the governor. Believe me, I know they are working day and night. And these guys who perpetrated this act will be brought to justice. That I'm very, very sure. And I'm speaking to a lot of guys that I know in Enugu as well. And I'm talking to them. They said, we have to do something. Enugu is for all of us, not just for the governor and his team. Every one of us have to speak up. You know something, you say something to the police. And the police as well, they have to be vigilant. We have to protect Enugu for Enugu to remain the way we want Enugu. We cannot live in fear. There are states in Nigeria where people don't want to come back. People don't want to invest. And we don't need that in Enugu. If the security of life and property is not protected, everything, the legacy that Mbah is trying to put in place, they'll all become in ruin and in vain. And we don't need that. Thank you.
Well, we're hoping that when you see something, say something, that the people who actually say something and decide to say something are safe after they say. Because it's one thing to see and say something, and it's another thing to, have your security intact after you have said something. Well, you didn't talk about the taxes. Briefly, can you please, because we're running out of time.
Okay, on the taxes, and let me tell you, taxing is something that we cannot do without. Every economy needs taxes to survive. Where does the government get the money? It's from the tax and revenues. And yes, we know we are building. And once you're building, we're all going to feel the burden. And I don't know how else, and I want to say this, the people of Enugu, we're going to feel the burden, and just for a while. And for the taxes, like we're saying, the big corporations, they should step in and help. But we can't do without the taxes. Even here in United Kingdom, we pay taxes. When inflation comes, the taxes goes up. And the government tells you, you can achieve. The economy cannot strive without having a good tax system that is balanced. Everybody is going to complain. Everybody's going to feel the pinch, but it's just a while. Let us be patient. That's what I'm going to ask the people of Enugu. I have business in Enugu. I pay my taxes as well. So it's not like it's free for one person and it's not for it's free for others.
Okay.
Everyone is feeling the crunch of this tax index that the Enugu governor.
We'll leave that conversation there. And then, of course, we hope to hook up with you for more. Thank you so much for joining in tonight. Venerable Francis Mountainfly, the Plenary News UK Bureau Chief and of political strategist. Thank you for joining.
Thank you guys for having me. Bye.
That's all we have tonight right here on Afia TV News, streaming live from Enugu, Nigeria. And on behalf of the entire production team, I am Amazing Grace Ajay. Thank you so much for watching and good night.